Mr. Gatsby, I'd like to know.
Exactly who are you, anyhow?
No time.
Can't you see who this guy is? With his house, his parties, and his fancy clothes.
I love you much.
We were born different from you.
It's in our blood.
I go back to
Nothing that you do or dream up can ever change that.
Gatsby. He had a grand vision for his life since he was a boy.
I'm gonna fix things just the way they were before.
Just you and me. No amount of fire could challenge the fairy tale he had stored up in his heart.
Will you still love me when I'm no longer young and beautiful?
Was all this made entirely from your own imagination?
When I got nothing,
But I had the uneasy feeling that he was guarding secrets.
I know you will.
I wish I'd done everything on earth with you. I don't want to go.
And don't.
Last green light in my eyes, and my love on my mind, and I'll sing from the beginning.
It had gone beyond her. It had gone beyond everything.
Something ought to be done about a fella like that.
My life has got to be like this. It's got to keep going on.
This film was directed by Baz Luhrmann, an Australian director well known for his work with Romeo and Juliet, the 1996 version starring Leonardo DiCaprio, and the musical Moulin Rouge, starring Nicole Kidman. His style is known for being very extravagant and over the top with a lot of detailed imagery. In the scene I'm showing you today, it is a scene in the movie where Gatsby has arranged for Nick to invite Daisy, who is Nick's cousin, over to Nick's house so he can stop by and see her. So Gatsby kind of wanted to set up this event that would make it seem as though Nick had just invited Daisy over to have a nice tea, sit and chat between cousins, so that he could coincidentally stop by and see her again. The reason he wanted to see her again is because 5 years prior to this moment, they used to be in love and were a couple, and he had not seen her at all or had any contact with her in those 5 years.
I know you will.
Are you in love with me?
Oh, it's the secret of Caraway Castle. Tell your chauffeur to go far away.
Come back in an hour, Ferdy. His name is Ferdy.
Oh, my goodness. I can't believe it. Did you ransack a greenhouse?
He is in love with me. Would you?
That's funny.
What's funny?
Ah. What are you doing?
certainly glad to see you again.
I'm certainly glad to see you as well.
We've met before. Have someone come prepare this immediately. Sorry about the clock.
That's an old clock?
Lovely, though, a lovely clock.
Yes.
We haven't met for many years.
5 years next November.
Tea.
Yes, thank you.
Darling,
thank you.
thank you.
Lemon or sugar?
Neither.
Plain.
I just have to pop into town.
Tom?
I'll be right back.
Nick, I've got to speak to you about something.
Yes, I'll be right back. God, this was a mistake. This was a terrible, terrible mistake. You're just embarrassed. Stacey's embarrassed too.
She's embarrassed.
Yes, just as much as you are. Hey, you're acting like a little boy. You're being rude. Daisy's in there all alone and you're... Looking over my story so far, I'm reminded that for the second time that summer, I was guarding other people's secrets. Once again, I was within and without.
The reason I chose this scene and thought it was so significant is because it really shows the moment in the plot where everything starts to change. The meeting between the two characters sets off a whole chain of events, impacting the entire story ahead of them. It is also an excellent example of Lerman's style, with the extravagant, over-the-top flowers and the super detailed scenery, and it gives an accurate representation of each of the characters' personalities. I feel like this can be said with almost any book that has a movie made after it, but there were of course many similarities between the novel and the film, but also quite a few differences. So I thought that when I was watching the film, the mannerisms of each character match the novel very well. So Nick is very innocent and humble, Daisy is lively with a voice that is delicate and beautiful, and Gatsby has a strange demeanor that kind of adds to the awkwardness of the encounter. I think that DiCaprio did a very good job in showing the whirlwind of emotion that Gatsby was described to have been feeling in the novel during this scene. But I think that Dana's character lacks the background story she was given in the novel, leaving the viewer with less information than what was given in the novel. In terms of soundtrack for the movie, I thought it was super amazing. I thought the music for this scene was particularly really good, because it had that, soft instrumental music that you almost didn't notice, but it became very obvious when there was that part where it was just that total stretch of silence when Daisy and Gatsby kind of lock eyes for the first time. And then after that, it slowly increases in intensity and volume, kind of representing all those emotions that are coming up before Daisy broke the silence. And the soundtrack of the rest of the film was chosen with great care to fit the style of the time period, so that 20s jazz kind of feel, but at the same time have a modern twist and including some types of music like rap music and stuff like that. In terms of casting, Gatsby was played by Leonardo DiCaprio, who, when I first saw that, I didn't think that would be my typical pick for Gatsby because I feel like he's too like boyish and innocent looking, and he doesn't really have that sort of closed off, formal attitude that Gatsby has. Daisy was played by Carey Mulligan, who managed, I thought, to capture the very charming but at the same time foolish and almost a little bit stupid kind of attitude that Daisy has in the novel. Nick Carraway was played by Tobey Maguire, who I thought was great for this role. Even a lot of critics felt as though he fit into that awkward clumsiness that Nick had in the novel, and even the way that he looked really matched what a lot of people had seen for the casting of Nick. When looking at this scene, I found actually a lot of connections to Psych, because I feel like you can really get a glimpse of this vulnerable side of Gatsby. The way he gets scared and runs away at first shows that maybe there is some insecurity there, and he is scared of what might happen or what Daisy might say or how she might react. And the fact that even Daisy, who is a very lively, chatty character, is speechless shows that maybe she's trying to push down all those feelings, that rush of emotion that came up again when she saw Gatsby. The wardrobe for this film was amazing. Everything was exactly the way that the book had described. So Gatsby was in these lavish suits and shirts, and Nick dressed in that kind of like typical middle-class attire. Daisy was dressed in fine dresses and accessories all the time, and the party attire was everything that it should be. Kind of risky for that time period, you know, the typical 20s short dresses covered in gems and embroidery, the flapper type style, which was very over the top and also suited Baz's director style as well. For Baz, this film was quite successful. It was his highest grossing film, making $150 million in the box office. He won 2 Academy Awards, one for Best Costume Design, one for Best Production Design, and many AACTA awards. There were mixed reviews given. Some loved the film, and others thought it was a poor rendition of the original book and was missing some important details. But that's sort of something that's always expected when you're recreating a classic or a novel that many people are very strongly attached to, like The Great Gatsby.